Welcome to Gulfstream Park, and it is Wednesday, December 10th. Christina Bossanakis here with our man, Ron Nicoletti. Ron, it feels like Jersey, a beautiful day in New Jersey today. We're very balmy. I think we're like maybe 60 degrees. I don't even think we're even 60 degrees today.
Well, we'll be up around probably low 70s by the time of the day. It's absolutely beautiful here. We got a fast main track, firm turf course. You know, we got the Rainbow Six, which starts in race number 5. Over $23,000 in the pool. So a little later on, you got to do your handicapping. As we always mention, Christina and I, you know, watch these earlier races, see how the racetrack is playing before you delve into, you know, the Rainbow Six, which starts later on. They've been knocking at the door again. They might get it today. So we'll see how that plays out.
There's also carryover in the Super High Five. That's in the final race on the card, over 14,000.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later on. That's a great bet. It's a $1 wager. There you go. You see it there, over 14,000. Wow.
Yeah, but we're coming off of another big weekend, and Ron, we can't talk about last weekend, or we can't really get into this week without looking back at last weekend. There's a horse that ran in the Golden Beach, the winner, Artrides. What an impressive horse for Stone Street Stables, Marty Wolfson. We're going to have a look at his race last time, and Ron, just in a really impressive looking.
Yeah, he got really bopped around at the start there. He got blocked between horses, but he just drew off in the stretch, and it was a very impressive performance. Coming off a losing performance, bouncing back, and he's perfect 4 for 4 over this racetrack, and there he is just drawing up to win it.
I love it, If you look at his ears, and they're a little bit pinned back. I don't even think that he's working that hard. I think it's just he seems to be like a very I don't even want to say aggressive, but he just seems to be a very you know, tough character. So he's going to be one to look at down the road.
Yeah, and you know, with that trouble at the gate, he actually got shuffled back behind horses and everything like that. You know, and Larry, our truck announcer, actually said he's back. Oh, he's got to work, but he just did it so professionally. So it looks like he's got a bright future ahead.
Yeah, he sure does. But Ron, we're going to get into today's card, and I want to tell you that coming here from New Jersey, I've been in New York, New Jersey all summer long. You've been here the whole summer. These cards are loaded. We get full fields, competitive races. They're really tough to handicap.
Yeah, they're tough to handicap. And we've had, I can't tell you how many, 12, 14 horse fields we've had throughout the summer, and it's continuing right now in the championship meet. And that's what makes it a lot of fun here. And our first race, one of those races got a lot of horses in it.
Yeah, it sure does. And it is a 62.5 claiming event, 6 miles. 6 miles. We got jumpers.
That would be a tough one to handicap.
We got jumpers here today. 6 furlongs on the main track. And Ron, I went with number 5, Turf Craze, and I'm looking at all the track handicappers. We all went in a different direction here. Again, this is just how competitive these races are. I know that he's got some turn of foot. I'm hoping that he's going to put himself in the mix of things. Last time out, he ran on the dirt, and in that race, you know, I think he can move forward off of that effort. He actually has a couple, or she, excuse me, has a couple of good races on the turf, but I think that she can also run on the dirt here.
Yeah, I went with the 11 in there, KB Biorhythms, but before I want to note, there's 3 jockey changes here. On the 3, it'll be Javier Santiago. On the 4, it's Luca Panici. And on the number 8, Orlando Boca Chica. And it's always good when I can say Luca Panici.
I was going to say Orlando Boca Chica.
Well,
okay.
I changed it to Luca Panici this year. But let me tell you about the 11 KB Biorhythms. 2 for 2 in the money on the surface. Now returns after a couple of really solid performances across down at Gulfstream Park West, and which she defeated 6,252 lifetime claimers. That was back on November 15th, and was second at this level and distance last time out. Antonio Sano, who won the trainer title across town, has Miguel Vasquez in the saddle. Miguel Vasquez won 2 races on Sunday's card. Rode really well on the surf. So I went with the number 11 KB Biorhythms. Sylvia's Given Angel in second, and your horse Turf Craze in third.
Sylvia's Given Angel. I know that Edgar Zayas, he had a really big weekend as well on Sunday. I think he had 3 wins on the Sunday card. So, and he's the leading rider from Gulfstream Park West.
Right. So we got the leading trainer with the 11, the leading rider with the 7. And Christina went with the 5.
That's a beautiful summary. On to the second race on the card. We do have a couple of scratches, and those are the also eligibles. It is a 20,000 maiden event, maiden claiming event, 5 furlongs on the turf course. And Ron, I went with number 4, Mongol Voice. It looks like you did, and it looks like pretty much everybody did. This, I think, this filly stands out. She's going to be showing speed. I think in terms of her figures, she stands out in this group.
Yeah, and she looks like she got some tactical speed. Talk talking about Orlando Boca Chica, very aggressive rider, and I think this is certainly the horse to beat here. Also in that race, scratched the 6, Candy's Lady. The 11, Indian Chaser, who I put in second, is cutting back to 5 furlongs after showing speed and weekly day as the favorite. That was in 5 consecutive route races on the grass. This horse is what we call in racing a little bit of a chalk burner here. Timmy Hill says Jesus Rio's trying to repair that reputation.
Yeah, I did use her I didn't use her for that very reason. I had her as an alternate, but for that very reason as well. On to the third race on the card. It is a maiden special weight, is a mile on the main track, and it is for 2-year-old fillies. And Ron, I like these. I think it's a pretty competitive race, actually. I went with number 4, Puffle Feathers. The horse really to beat in there is going to be Esken for Money. I went with Puffle Feathers. Trainer and jockey 14%. They hit at a 14% strike rate. Really nice work pattern for this 2-year-old daughter of Tisnow. Tisnow not particularly known as a first-time starter. However, this was the direction I went into. I also used underneath, and I know that you used this horse on top, Esken for Money. And Ron, if you look at her break, her start, a couple of starts back on October 9th at Keeneland, she really got off to a very poor start. She jumped up at the break. You're going to see her here. Oop, she hops coming out of there, so she loses maybe 2-3 lengths right there, and comes back next time. Runs a much better effort, just gets beat out by Nose in her latest start at Keeneland, October 23rd. And here she is. She just gets beat.
Yeah, she ran a race. I mean, she's the logical choice for me. Now, because of those 2 performances, I like the performance on the grass, comes back and runs on the main track. Now going to cut back to a mile. Removing those blinkers today after getting caught late, as you see there. Beating the Nose, going a mile in the 16th. Trainer Todd Pletcher, a 29% with blinkers off. And guess who's riding it? John Velasquez is back in town, so we'll see how Johnny does with number 3, Asking for Money. But I like 4, Puffle Feathers, too. That workout at Keeneland, 58-2, a bullet from the gate. This horse can be right there. Larry Ravelli's 25% with first-time starters.
Yeah, he gets them ready.
Yeah, so why not have that horse somewhere on your ticket, too? And you're going to get a much better price there.
I will say about Esken for Money, just for a second, she is by Eskender Rhea, and this is his first crop of 2-year-olds. I always thought they sold really well as yearlings, even as 2-year-olds. So I think that they're going to probably get a little bit better as they go along. Interestingly enough, and this is just food for thought, his win percentage is markedly less with his fillies than his colts. His colts, up until this point in the game, seem to have done better, performed better than his fillies. So that's something that I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, but I closed it out with the 6 True History, hoping to show more. Raced wide last time I finished 6th. It was 1 mile debut at Laurel. I think this horse is going to go show some positive progress in here. Michael matched Joel Rosario in the saddle. So our top riders coming down here and starting the season today, Wednesday.
Yeah, it's where everybody's back and ready to go. On to the 4th race on today's card. It is a 20,000 claiming event. It is a mile and a 16th on the turf course. Scratch the also eligibles 13 through 16. And Ron, I went with number 9, A Lover's Question. Now, I know everybody, the horse really to beat in here is Bustle. As you just mentioned, Joel Rosario, he joins up with Jane Sibeli. They're lethal when they join up together. They hit at a 43% strike rate. This filly's getting blinkers on this time. In terms of her, as I said, I look at the speed figures. I think her numbers stack up favorably with anybody in here. I decided to go with number 9, A Lover's Question. I think she's going to be showing speed in here. Although I want for us to talk about it for a second. Over the weekend, my impression is, or sometimes coming in, our impression was speed might be doing well, but it seems to be a pretty fair track.
Pretty fair track, and this being the turf race, it looked like the first couple of races on the turf that the horses went out and they were running very well. But you see, if the horse went out fast, usually was caught by a stalker closer. So I thought it was a pretty even turf course, and I mentioned this a couple of times over the weekend. Turf course is absolutely in fantastic condition. We had those couple of months off when we were across town, and the turf course looks great. So it looks like it's playing fair. There is no real worn paths where maybe a speed would help somebody. So I think if you find the right horse, you got to go with that horse. Did not use the 9, and I went back and looked. It was the morning line favorite. Did not use it at all. I went with the number 11, Bustle, who you were talking about. Drop it to the $20,000 claiming level, wearing blinkers. Faced allowance level competition in both recent turf outings across town at Gulfstream Park West. Didn't run badly. I think much better competition over there. Trainer Jane Sibeli, Joel Rosario, as you mentioned, is a daughter of More Than Ready. ready.
A horse that I used, and I see that you used among your top selections, number 1, CC in Red. She's an Amazon of a filly, daughter of any given Saturday. Very low. She's always far back early. She's always closing though, and she gets a decent trip. Last time she broke very poorly, and I think that really threw her out of there. But she's a filly that every time I've seen her, she'll run her race generally. If she gets a good break, she'll run her race. But it's just that lack of speed, that early speed to me was a disadvantage.
Yeah, and I was trying to put her on top.
Yeah.
I really was trying to put her on
exactly.
top because she's 5 for 9 in the money on this course. 9 starts, 2 wins, 2 seconds in the third. But you said she encountered trouble in the beginning of that start. She lunged at the start. It might have cost her last time out. But she's one of those horses, I just didn't have the moxie to put it on top, so I went with the 11 Bustle, but did not use the 9. I'm going to have to go back and look at that horse.
We'll have to look at her also in the paddock when they come out. We're going to take a short break, and we'll come back and have a look at the 5th race on today's card. That kicks off the 20-cent Rainbow 6, and there is a carryover over $23,000.
Gulfstream Park is one of Florida's top entertainment destinations, mixing restaurants, clubs, a casino, and international boutique shops with world-class racing. In a lavish, sun-drenched setting with the feel of a Mediterranean village, Gulfstream is a leading year-round entertainment and tourist destination and the home of luxury residences in 2014. The Stronach family, owners of Gulfstream Park, is committed to the sport of thoroughbred racing and the grace, spirit, and generosity of the horse.
The Rainbow 6 is back and it's better than ever. Now with a 20-cent base wager, it will expand the market for the popular bet. And in addition to doubling the base wager, the percentage return for the winners on the day the jackpot isn't hit increases to 70%, with 30% going to the carryover pool for the next program. Gulfstream Park, first post, 12:35 p.m. each and every day.
We're back at Gulfstream Park, and we're going to have a look at the 5th race on today's card, which kicks off the 20-cent Rainbow 6. And there is a carryover today, over $23,000, and no scratches thus far that I have on my records. Of course, Larry Colmus will be on in just a few moments. He'll give us all the updated scratches and changes for today's card. And my top selection in here, I went with No One Is Like Me.
That's for sure.
I know why you think I picked that horse. In any case, again, here's another one. Showed some speed last time, tired, got a little leg very late. Blinkers going on this time to sharpen up this daughter of Indigo Shiner. And again, I like her. She is a 2-year-old. I think that she's going to move forward off that last effort. She did take money in that latest effort, and I think she'll move forward off that.
You know, I was going to say when the Rainbow 6 starts now, you might want to have to go a little deep. I thought it was a wide open race. Then I look on the board, and we got the same 3 horses exactly, 1, 4, and 6. So no one like me for all the reason. No one is like me on top of my ticket with the 4. Fireman's carrying second, stepping up, a claiming ladder today after dueling for the lead in Weekney in the stretch to finish third. That was against $10,000 maidens going 7 furlongs. Marcus Vitale got apprentice Arnie Fontanez in the saddle today. So we'll see what happens with the number 4 Fireman's carry and use the 6 Halos of Dreams. So we were thinking alike in here.
Yeah, I certainly think so. And for a Fireman's carry, I just think that she's back at a better distance here today. She did take quite a bit of money, so I think she's well placed. And also Halo of Dreams, as you mentioned, again, that 0 for 9 is a little unappealing, staring back at you. But again, one maybe for the exotics.
Yeah, one for the exotics. I don't know. You have to decide if you're going to go 3 deep here in the opening stanza of the Rainbow 6.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Looks like the 1 and 4 are the logical choices in there, but I'm not convinced that it's just a 2-horse race.
On to the 6th race on today's card. It is a maiden special weight event. It is 5 furlongs on the turf course, and it is for 3-year-olds and up. And my tops, actually, there was no changes, no scratches thus far.
12 horses in the field.
12 horses. I know. These are loaded. These are tough. These races are tough. For race 6, my top selection was number 5, and that is Black Jet. He's a 3-year-old colt by Arch, getting blinkers off this time out. Paco Lopez gets aboard, maybe going to be showing some speed. Debuted on the turf last time. I thought that was a pretty good performance for his first start. But we got a couple of other horses. I know you went in a different direction.
Yeah, I went with the number 9 Spearhead, and just so you know, if you're not alive in the Rainbow Six after the thing, you start with the pick 5 here, a 50-cent wager.
Yeah.
The number 9 Spearhead is cutting back to this 5 furlong distance today. First start since, if you look at its last race, he got shuffled back. He finished 8. He was beaten 10 lengths, but that was its 1 mile career debut. It was on Belmont. It was back on September 26th. Christophe Clement. 30% with horses going from the route to a sprint. He does very well when this happens. From watching him do that over the years, most people think, Christophe Clement going long in the grass. He does good when the horses turn back in distance, and he'll have Joel Rosario in the saddle. So number 9 Spearhead on my ticket, along with the 5 Black Jet, who you have on top of your ticket.
Yeah, and we also have Simon Bar Sinister, and he's a 3-year-old colt by Warfront, and he showed speed. He showed some early foot last time. He faded to 5th, and I think we have a quick clip. We're going to have a look at what Marty Wolfson had to say about Simon Bar Sinister for this race.
Yep.
So while they cue that up, so Ron, did you use
I did use Simon Bar Sinister. Yes, this one's making her first starts, and she broke from post 10. She dueled for the lead. She faded to finish 5th here. That was going a mile in the 16th. It was back on May 26th. Trainer Marty Wolfson, as you mentioned, 31% with the route to sprint move, and he's 19% with the longer than 180-day layoff. So this horse coming off the bench, and I just thought it was a logical choice to have somewhere on your your pick, your Rainbow 6 ticket or your pick 5 ticket. So number 8, Simon Bar Sinister. And if you're just joining us at Gulfstream Park, you know just how well Marty Wolfson does with everything. So you got to sort of use him all the time.
I also threw on my ticket number 4, and that was Easement. And I know, again, I didn't really want this colt on top. However, again, 0 for 13, but I thought that maybe underneath he could maybe get up and he can hit the board. And moving on to the 7th race on today's card, which is a 62.5 claiming event. It is 1 mile on the main track. We do have 1 scratch, and that's number 2, Ill Considered. And this kicks off the pick 4. Yep. What did you do, Ron?
I went with the number 3, El Bendenat, and this one is stretching out to a 1-turn mile and dropping a notch. Rallied last time out, finished 2nd as the odds-on choice. That was against $8,000 claimers going 7 furlongs across town at Gulfstream Park West. Peter Walder, Javier Castellano, 3rd start of her current form cycle, and I just think this is the logical choice in there. So number 3, El Bendenat, and I see that you have El Bendenat on top of your ticket too.
Yes, I do. And again, for Peter Walder, I think one of the things I have to say about Peter, he's just very good at placing his horses. I think he's got them in the right spot. He puts them in the perfect position. And also, I think this one particularly, she stands out in terms of, I was looking at her numbers. I thought that she pretty much stood out in this group. Also using number 4, Party Till Dawn, among my top selections. How deep are we going to go in that race, Ron?
Well, I'm going to go deep here. I think there's a wide open thing. I used Party Till Dawn. I also used the 5 White Line. This is a 3-time winner on this track. 10 previous races with 3 wins, a second, and 3 wins in a second. A 5-time winner at the distance. 15 races, 5 wins. Tries a 1-turn mile again after rallying 6 wide. Finished 3rd. It was against Similar. If you're not aware, over across town at Gulfstream Park West, a mile is around 2 turns. This is a 1-turn mile, and I think you cannot lead this horse off your exotic ticket at all. White Line, I will be using it on all my exotic wagers.
Right, definitely. On to the 8th race on today's card, and we do have a 7.5 furlong turf event. It is a 35,000 maiden claimer, and scratches are the also eligibles. And my top selection is a number 1, Rocket Man Richie, trained by Larry Ravelli, and this is a 2-year-old gelding by Bring the Heat. Bring the Heat with his first-time starters on the turf, spectacular. He almost had a 20% clip. His horses win, and this gelding is coming from Hawthorne. He's a first-time gelding in this race. Actually, he was gelded since his last race.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I want to show you a video in here of a horse that I used on my ticket, and that's Kid Gavilan. And it's a race from back on, this is on November 27th. You're just going to see this horse. He's on the inside there. He's the number 1, and he just breaks over, and he gets jammed in on the inside, and you know, he's got nowhere really to go early on, and then you're going to see this is basically the trip that he had all around the track, all the way around. He's just looking for room, and when we switched to his run and turning for home, he's still locked in on the inside. Now you're going to see him try and make a move on the inside, and he's going to get shuffled back twice in here. He's going to come through, and it just doesn't get through now, and you know, just didn't have the right room in here to get the job done in the race. So Kid Gavilan, you know, finishes not bad in that race. Ends up finishing fourth. I just thought if he had some room, he would run well. With that said, I went with the 5 Tariff on top of my ticket
okay.
with Kid Gavilan in second. The Tariff is turning back to 7 furlongs. He returned from a 7-week freshman to finish a game second. That was against $25,000 maidens going a mile into 16th. Again, across town at Gulfstream Park West. Billy Mott is the trainer. Ramsey Zimmerman penciled in for the return riding assignment. So my exacta box in there, number 5 Tariff, and a horse that didn't have enough racing room, I think, to win it, and that was the Kid Gavilan.
Yeah, one horse that I want to mention in there, number 7, Wildcat Runner, 2-year-old colt by Wildcat Air. Last time, that was a pretty good effort, and I think he's first time he's getting back to the turf here. Last time he did run on the dirt. That was his career best speed figure in any case, but I think that he's going to be one that you probably don't want to throw out.
Yeah, I got him on my ticket too. Second versus similar on the turf. That was back on October 29th. Now he goes back to the turf today, coming winning ahead of exiting the maiden ranks. That was going 7 furlongs on the dirt. Bill Kaplan has his go-to jock, Juan Leyva, handling that surface switch today. So Tariff, Kid Gavilan, Wildcat Runner for me in that 8th race.
Now on to the 9th race on today's card, which is our feature, the Golden Beach. It is a mile on the main track, and my top selection. This is a really, really interesting, very competitive race, I think. And at first, I was thinking the horse that really stands out, number 6, Wait No More, a 3-year-old filly by Medaglia d'Oro. The dam, Wait a While. She was not only a superior filly on the turf and a Grade 1 winner, she was also a 3-year-old champion, and very nice filly. Ron, lovely filly, won her last 2. First time she's running on the dirt, and in terms, if you look at her pedigree, she certainly is bred to run on the dirt. Medaglia d'Oro, a very versatile stallion. She's coming into this exactly the right way. I went with number 10, USS O'Brien, and I was a little bit betwixt and between a couple of these horses. I did go with the Kathy Ritvo runner, showed speed last time, just galloped in her latest effort, but that was back on September 11th, and we can have a look at USS O'Brien back on June 6th. If you look at her previous start, she didn't get the greatest of, she basically bolted. If you look at her right here,
yeah.
Woo, that's it, we're done. So completely throw out that effort, and Ron, if you look at that race, okay, where she obviously has no shot.
Right.
She comes back, she runs big. If you look at all her other races, her numbers are really good.
Yeah, I mean, I like the performance she has been seen since she drew off on the sealed sloppy track. And she in that race defeated a couple of next out winners. One called Corner the Market, the other one called Elusive Harmony. That was a key 7-furlong dash. Was right here on September 11th. Kathy Ritvo is the trainer. She's over 20% with this type of layoff. And Wait No More, I had to have that one on top of my ticket. But there is a horse in here I call the Rodney Dangerfield of horses, and that's the 5 Flutter By. You know, she gets no respect in both recent stakes performance. She was 4th, beaten 3 lengths at 16-1 against older horses. Then comes back in the 6 furlong Sky Beauty, finishes 2nd, beaten, you know, just a little bit at 16-1 again. 3-year-olds and upwards. She's facing 3-year-olds today, and that last race was in the Sunshine Millions distaff. She gets no respect at the winner's circle, but I mean at the betting window. But I'm going to use her on my ticket.
You know, I did too. I had her in 2nd, and when I said I was really torn, not so much even as much as Wait No More, it was Flutter By. It was Flutter By and USS O'Brien. I was torn between those 2 fillies, and I agree with you. I think that she's going to be the filly. She's going to be the filly to beat in this particular spot. But really competitive race for today's Golden Beach. On to the 10th and final race on the card, and there is a super high 5 wagering. As always, in the final race on the card, there is a carryover over $14,000. It is a $20,000 maiden claiming event, a mile and a 16th on the turf course, and we do have scratches of the also eligibles, 13 through 15. I always love the last race on the card. It's competitive. You often get a price in there, and again, we have a pretty stout field in there. We got a pretty big field in there. So I went with number 4, Pisco Bliss, but it looks like We both went with Pisco Bliss.
I think almost everyone went with Pisco Bliss, dropping to the $20,000 level after hitting the board in one of two $40,000 maiden turf races at Belmont during September and October. Chad Brown, Javier Castellano, you know, that looks like the one to beat in it. I mean, if there's a question mark, it's because it hasn't run since, September and October, but certainly looks like the one to beat. I also used the number 9, Edge of Midnight, and the 11, Causeway Cowboy on my ticket.
Yeah, I used that. I think we were all on the same page there. And as you mentioned, Pisco Bliss for Chad Brown, I never worry so much when they're coming back off a layoff. Chad Brown does a spectacular job bringing them back from being on the bench. And also the one horse that I threw in there that I don't know that you had was number 2, Thunder and Willie. And this is a 3-year-old gelding for Kathleen O'Connell. I thought that last race was pretty good. That was in maiden special weight company at Gulfstream Park West, dropping this time. Number came back pretty good. I think that if he runs that type of race or even a little bit of an improved race, that's going to put him in the mix of things. So we've got really a great card today in that so many betting options. Again, very, very competitive races. And we also have the Golden Beach.
You have the Golden Beach, and it's not an easy task trying to hit this Rainbow Six today, but that's what makes it fun. Starts in race number 5, so we'll see how the day plays out. But one thing I can tell you, Christina, it's a beautiful day here.
It is a beautiful day, and we've got Larry Colmus waiting in the wings to give you all the changes and scratches for today. That's it for Ron and myself for now. We will be back the rest of the afternoon, and I hope you all stick around, folks. Good luck.